The ordinary morning, the sun had barely risen over the small Texas town when Alana Brooks slipped into her scrubs. She had just finished a long overnight shift at the local hospital and was looking forward to a quiet day off. Her plan was simple: grab a coffee, maybe visit her sister, and rest. But fate had a different idea. As she stepped into her small blue sedan, she noticed the sky glowing with a strange orange haze in the distance. She brushed it off, thinking it was just the sunrise, until the distant rumble began. At first, she thought it was thunder. But the deep roar grew louder, followed by an unnatural shaking in the air. Looking up, she spotted a military transport plane, far too low, wobbling like a wounded bird. Seconds later, a deafening explosion split the morning silence. Flames erupted from the nearby field, thick black smoke curling into the sky. Alana's heartbeat quickened. She didn't think. She just drove toward the chaos. By the time she reached the crash site, the heat was already unbearable. The wreckage was scattered across the dry grass, chunks of twisted metal still burning. And then she saw them, Marines, their uniforms scorched, some crawling, some screaming for help. The smell of burning fuel hung heavy in the air. Every instinct told her to stay back, to wait for firefighters. But Alana wasn't wired that way. She flung open her car door, grabbed her small emergency kit, and ran straight into danger. The first Marine she reached was trapped under a section of the fuselage. His leg was pinned, blood soaking through his pants. Without hesitation, Alana wedged her shoulder under the metal, straining with all her strength until it shifted just enough for him to pull free. She wrapped a makeshift tourniquet around his thigh and dragged him to the edge of the field where the smoke was thinner. "Stay with me," she told him. "You're not going anywhere today except home." Over the next frantic minutes, Alana worked like a soldier in battle. She pulled one Marine after another from the burning wreckage, 10 in total. Her hair singed at the ends, her scrubs stained with soot and blood. She ignored the blisters forming on her hands. At one point, an explosion knocked her to the ground, but she crawled forward anyway. "If I stop now, someone dies," she kept telling herself. Through the smoke, she heard a faint coughing sound. Following it, she found a young Marine barely conscious, his face burned and his breathing ragged. His dog tags read C. Ramirez. Fuel was pooling around them, the fire creeping closer. Alana pulled him onto her back, the heat scorching her neck, and staggered toward safety. Just seconds before the wreckage behind them erupted into a fireball. When the fire crews finally arrived, Alana was sitting on the ground, exhausted, her arms trembling from adrenaline. The Marines she had saved were lined up on stretchers, each alive, bruised, burned, but breathing. A paramedic knelt beside her. "Ma'am, you need medical attention." Alana just shook her head. They needed it more. Only then did she realize her forearms were blistered and her ankle badly twisted. 20-4 hours later, Alana's phone rang. The voice on the other end was calm, official. "Miss Brooks, this is the governor of Texas. I've heard about what you did. I'd like to meet you in person." She thought it was a prank until she saw the formal invitation in her email minutes later. Her hands shook as she read it. She had never been called a hero before. She didn't feel like one now. But the state of Texas clearly disagreed. Next day, she stood on the steps of the state capitol. The 10 Marines she'd saved lined up behind her. The governor spoke to the crowd. In the face of fire, fear, and certain death, Alana Brooks did what few would dare to do. She ran toward the flames. When he pinned the Texas Medal of Valor to her chest, she could barely hold back tears. The applause echoed through the square, but what moved her most was the salute from the Marines. That night, Alana sat alone in her small apartment, the medal resting on the kitchen table. She thought about the faces of the men she had pulled from the wreckage, about the fire that could have taken them all. She didn't feel like a hero. She felt like someone who simply couldn't walk away. And maybe, she realized, that's what heroism really is. Not fearlessness, but acting despite it. Outside, the Texas night was quiet again. But for those 10 Marines, and for Alana Brooks, life would never be the same. Alana's mind was still spinning from the past 24 hours. She hadn't even processed the adrenaline of the rescue when her phone buzzed again. It wasn't a normal text. It was a formal message with the seal of the governor of Texas. Miss Brooks, the governor requests your presence at the state capitol tomorrow morning. You will be honored for your extraordinary bravery. Her hands trembled. This wasn't a casual thank you. This was official public recognition from the highest authority in the state. But along with the pride